You want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You can't handle the truth!
Well, we're giving you the Michigan Sports Truth, the show that is honest, reveals the facts, truth, and statistics, and does not mess around. Follow me, Taylor Phillips, on Twitter at DT2Phillips. Email me at TaylorGatorPhillips14@yahoo.com. Follow Ed Smith on Twitter at EdSmith313, and go to our website at MichiganSportsTruth.com. Also like our Facebook page, The Michigan Sports Truth, and join our Facebook group with the same name. The Michigan Sports Truth podcast on Spreaker is also available on iHeartRadio and SoundCloud. Also a subsidiary of Sports Radio Detroit, thus available on iTunes and Podbean. This podcast is particularly not for entertainment purposes, and the views expressed by the host of this podcast are opinion-based. However, they do not come without facts, research, statistics, and truth, whether other people like it or not, and no matter how harsh or complicated it may be. This is the Michigan Sports Truth, and nothing can ever stop it from being correct.
And episode 268 of the Michigan Sports Truth, and episode 268 of the Michigan Sports Truth Week in Review edition on Spreaker is on the air. Taylor Phillips and Ed Smith. Ed, how was your week?
Between trying to survive the sweltering heat and trying to survive the insufferable domination that is the Golden State Warriors. Luckily, Cleveland was able to stretch out to a clean 5. It's been so, but I've been doing fine either way.
Yeah, and also the Penguins won the Stanley Cup. In Game 6, the Predators had a goal taken away by a stupid referee who blew the whistle way too fucking early. And the Predators, in result, were held off the board all game long, and the Penguins won 2-0 to win the Stanley Cup in 6 games at Bridgestone Arena. And the Nashville Predators, had the referee allowed that goal, would have had a lot more momentum on their side.
Yeah, that was what you call a ball breaker of the highest order. As we know, eventually Pittsburgh would score, eventually breaking the scoreless time, about a minute and a half or so left in the third, and adding on an insurance goal after that to steal it. But I think things obviously could have been very, very different if Nashville's goal had been allowed to begin with. Who knows, maybe we're looking at a Game 7, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be. And as much as I really do despise the Pittsburgh Penguins, I get pretty praise too. So
yeah,
to accomplish something that no one else has done since the Red Wings in '97, '98. Not an easy task. So grudgingly, I offer my best congratulations to the fans.
Yeah, Sidney Crosby, a 2-time Conn Smythe MVP winner. He's one of the guys that's too good. Evgeny Malkin as well, winning the other Conn Smythe, the first of the 3 Conn Smythe trophies in 2009 when they broke the Red Wings' backs and hearts and heads everywhere by stealing.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me of that shit. I'm not talented of all people.
Sorry, but it's true. That set the Red Wings down into a tailspin where they had to just make the playoffs until they finally started missing it this year. So let's see. All right, we have Tigers to discuss. Also, the Griffins, Pistons, Lions, and a lot more of the Michigan State Spartans football sexual assault investigation. which finally reveals the three names, but we'll get to that later on. First, the Tigers.
That one is long gone.
They lost 5-3 last Tuesday to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Daniel Norris again was being Daniel Norris, just giving up 3 runs, and the Tigers' offense, it looked like, couldn't get their offense going until the 9th inning when they started a rally. And they had the bases loaded for Alex Avila when Bud Norris couldn't find the strike zone until he froze Alex Avila to end the game. Got the save. Got a very interesting save.
I gotta be honest, that push was awfully close to being outside. I know the Caps did a great job of framing it, but I thought that's off to the on either way. I think it was too close enough for Alex, but I think I understand his stripes because the foot just had that outside more from my vantage point. But I think that's fault. So that's the situation you got to protect the plate at all costs. So I think Alex left himself open for that big call by not protecting the plate.
That's true. But then on Wednesday, the Tigers shut out the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim 4-0. Buck Farmer, 6 more innings of shutout baseball. Had 6 1/3 of shutout baseball. He's now thrown a total of exactly 13 innings of shutout baseball in his last 2 appearances, both his first 2 starts this year in the majors.
Which is crazy considering the fact that last year Buck Farmer, had an 0-6 record with a 6.84 ERA. If you look up on ESPN in terms of the reference in area schedule, Farmer became the first pitcher in Major League history to win his first 2 starts of the season without, allowing a single run. And that was the year for having a career record of 0-5 or worse. And like I mentioned before, he was 0-6 last year. So for them to transition from that to this level, kind of remarkable. Granted, it's a very, very small sample size, only 2 starts, but
yeah, that's a very good accomplishment.
I love it.
It's one of the bright sides for the Tigers farm system, and we'll get to that right after this, immediately right after this week in review. Tigers on Thursday got off to a good start offensively, but Michael Fulmer in the 5th inning imploded somehow, gave up 4 runs in the 5th inning, 5 total, took the loss, and the bullpen also imploded, and the Angels went mad and won 11-4. They ended up taking 2 out of 3, and the Tigers went into Boston on a low note. Except they got off to a little bit of a good start, just taking a short lead, 2-0, and a Nick Castellanos solo home run, and then a Justin Upton single, scoring Victor Martinez from second base, and that was actually a seeing eye single. That's how Victor Martinez scored. A very slow bouncing seeing eye single that just got past the second baseman into right field, and apparently the outfielders were playing very deep because Justin Upton has some power in his hitting along with contact, but they were playing the outfielders probably were playing so deep that it gave Victor Martinez even more time to score from second without even having a play at the plate.
Well, I think that was based upon seeing how Upton's gotten much better with his hitting and his power hitting this year. That left him open for him to take advantage of that. Of course, he would, again, return the favor later on in the series, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah. But can't remember who started that one. But it was it's not Matt Bourne. It's Jordan Zimmerman. Yeah, Jordan Zimmerman. Yep. Uh-huh. Yeah, who gave up just 2 runs through 6 innings, which is not bad. His last 2 starts were pretty good, in fact. Only 3 runs and allowing the last 12 innings pitched.
That is good, but meanwhile, I'm watching Max Scherzer is just absolutely just clowning everybody else, and it's just making me feel sicker and sicker for how in God's name he let that guy go.
Well, I mean, there's no comparison between the two. No
I know,
doubt.
I'm just saying, like, if money was the reason, I believe you let Max go, then we turn around and pay $100 million for Jordan Zimmerman. And what was the point besides being cheap? Because now Max is entering the prime of his career, putting up unbelievable. I mean, he just got what the second youngest ever to 2,000 career strikeout this past week. Had another 10 strikeout performance as well. God, I keep going back to that 2013, 2014. You had this plethora of Cy Young winners on your starting rotation, and you couldn't even get much series. In the case of 2014, you couldn't even win a game. That shows you how really, an X factor in terms of management. That's long. You need other factors to come into place here to help you get over that hump. So it's very just we couldn't do a damn thing with that, and now we let these vital players and pieces go. Now they're benefiting and helping other teams, and we're stuck with shite.
Yeah, just another memory just another one of those bad memories that will never go away.
Not bad, evil.
Evil, yeah, evil. Those evil memories that won't go away. Both the Red Wings and Tigers need to somehow try to do better at redeeming themselves.
Good luck on that.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of time.
Good luck on that until the Elwich yourself change.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Then the Tigers get blown out 11-3 in a duel that between Justin Verlander and Chris Sale. They each gave up 3 runs. Justin Verlander lasted only 5 innings. And then Warwick Saupold gave up 3 runs in the 7th inning to give the Red Sox a 6-3 lead. And then Arsenio Leon just was being Arsenio Leon, giving up 5 runs in the 8th inning.
When you have a name like that, I have expectations for you to do anything else but suck.
Yeah. So, in that result, he was sent back down to AAA Toledo because he was garbage, period, in the majors. He just was not ready at all.
You got to figure out something because apparently Bruce Rondon still ain't ready yet either.
No. There's a good comparison.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday Night Baseball just last night, the Tigers got off to a really good start, and then Justin Upton with a grand slam home run in the 5th inning.
I love it.
Highlighting a 5-run 5th inning, give the Tigers a 7-2 lead. That was the dagger, and Daniel Norris needed it. Norris only gave up 2 runs. That's a little better.
Yeah, very good. Very nice bounce back start for him. It was good to see his offense give him some damn run support. Give him some run support also. As opposed, speaking of the offense, and specifically Justin Upton, though, that grand slam essentially was a caper or a capper to an unbelievable stretch last 10 games, he's batting .410. That's his batting average. He's brought in 17 RBIs, 8 runs scored himself, and 4 home runs, and that included that grand slam last night. And let's not forget also, he hit that walk-off homer last week against the White Sox. So it's, I was telling you before that, last year was his adjustment year, trying to get himself climbed to the team, the system, strategy, and whatnot. There was going to be some growing pains. So now I think it's clear to see Justin Upton's far outgrown those growing pains, because look at him now. He's got 13 homers to go with 40 RBIs. And he has to be a little bit better, but listen, at a time where you've been dealing with Miguel Cabrera being more mortal than he's been in years past, and JD Martinez, he's been on a bit of a cool down. Ian Kindler, he's on and off the injury list. Beamar is a walking dead corpse at this point. You need some kind of offense to come whenever you can get it. Justin Upton is giving him that right spot, that right slap in the lineup. So it's good to see that at least. And speaking of which, another guy that I told fans not to lose their shit over and be patient with, Nick Castellanos. Look at him. He had a 2-run bomb himself last night against Boston. I told you that. That's the young guy figuring himself out.
2 home runs in that series.
I think 2 home runs in that series, including 2 runs last night.
His offense is okay. His defense is still shit. 12 errors.
Defense will get on that, but there were other fans were having some issues with his bat also. I said, let's wait on it. His bat's going to be fine. So
right. His bat will be fine. His fielding still needs a lot of work.
Oh, there's no question. There's obviously still for a player this young, it's always going to be a work in progress to get everything right.
That's
so I do at least appreciate the fact that his offense is starting to come together more now.
Yeah. So the Tigers return home tomorrow, Tuesday through Thursday, home against the Arizona Diamondbacks after having today off, Monday. Then they welcome in the Tampa Bay Rays on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Saturday at 4:10 on FS1. Just a little note. Now, the Tampa Bay Rays third in the AL East, 34-32, 6 games back of the Yankees, who are led by that young monster, Aaron Judge, of all people, hitting a .496 long home run, hitting 2 home runs yesterday. Shout out to him. And then,
what in the world are they feeding that kid?
Yeah, and speaking of a third-place team, the Arizona Diamondbacks, 39-26, just 2 games back of the Colorado Rockies, who are 41-24 in the NL West.
They would be murking everybody if they were in this division, man. 39-26.
I would have loved to see the Tigers in the NL West, just so they can be more of the embarrassment that they actually are.
Unless you want to drive more people to drink or take pills after saying that, I doubt that's a good idea.
But also, speaking of third place, the Tigers are 30-32, still in third place in the AL Central, 3.5 back of the Twins, 32-27. Cleveland Indians beat the White Sox 4-2. The Indians are 31-29, second place, a game and a half back. The White Sox have dropped to last place, 7 back, 26-35. They're falling apart, to say the least.
Yeah, I figured they weren't going to hang on. I'm still surprised that Minnesota is still at the top, but I doubt they'll. Hey, maybe they'll prove me wrong. They'll go the whole season being in the thick of it. I doubt it. I think Cleveland will find a way to move their way back to the front. It's up to the Tigers as whether they can keep up or stay close enough to maybe aim for that wild card spot. But speaking of Cleveland, Tigers and Indians have 2 very important series coming up. I guess you could say technically at the end of the month and throughout early the month of July as well. There's the 4-game set from the 30th to the 2nd, and then there's a 3-game set at Cleveland on the 7th, starting on the 7th. So those are big games for the Tigers because, they won't be facing the Twins again for a while. So you got to rack up as many divisional wins as you can. So you got Kansas City near the end of the month, and then right after that, boom, there's a big 4-game set with Cleveland. And a 3-game set after a quickie against the Giants.
Tigers, after the Rays series, head to Seattle for 4. All 4 late-night games in Seattle against the Mariners.
Ooh, joy. Late-night West Coast baseball. That's sure to be fun.
Hey, at least there's no weekend. At least it's Monday through Monday through Wednesday. Monday through Thursday, rather.
They always find a way to struggle badly when facing, unless you're somehow facing the Oakland A's, then that's fine. But like if the Angels and the Mariners, like they always find a way to struggle in these late night, Pacific or coastal games. I can't explain it. It's just a form of kryptonite for them for some reason. I don't know, but it almost never ends badly. Like I said, unless you're facing the Oakland A's.
The Oakland Athletics. Wait, that's not the team that they play after the Seattle Mariners, is it?
Unless it was the A's, they usually do not have good fortunes with these type of West Coast road trips where you got to play at 10 in the East at night.
Right.
I was mentioning and referencing the Angels and the Mariners as those teams that always can have their number in these types of situations and scenarios. And then I mentioned, the only team that really doesn't give them any trouble under that type of time zone or whatever seems to be the A's, in my opinion. But that's just going on my test.
I got the other opponent after the Mariners. It's the San Diego Padres. Friday and Saturday at 10:10, and then Sunday at 4:40 on the 25th.
Okay, Padres is another one too. They're not right now.
Last place in the NL West, 24 and 40.
If you can't sweep this team,
right? But let's go back to Fridays and Saturdays game. Brad Ausmus just bringing in the wrong relief pitchers. Again, Alex Wilson giving up Friday night, giving up 3 runs in the 7th, an RBI single, and then a 2-run home run in the 7th. That was the ice capper right there. That made Brad Ausmus an idiot again, and then once again, Brad Ausmus made an idiot out of himself, putting in Warwick Saupold, who has also been a dud of late, giving up 3 runs in the 7th in a 3-3 game, giving the Red Sox a 6-3 lead. And then Arsenio Leon. It was still a 3-run game when Ausmus put in Leon, and Leon gave up those 5 runs, as I mentioned before. And that's just even more stupidity. It just helps the tanking process the right way. I want Brad Ausmus to keep making a fool out of himself, game in and game out, the rest of the season. I don't care if you don't lose all the games. Just tank as badly as you can, especially with Brad Ausmus, constantly making all the wrong decisions, and then Al Avila and Chris Ilitch will maybe be convinced that Brad Ausmus is just not the type of guy to be the manager for this Detroit Tigers organization ball club.
If at least not fired, then definitely, just don't bring him back, because this is what the last year was deal anyway. So like I said, just again, comparisons, the whole Mike Babcock thing.
Demoted?
He wasn't. No, his contract. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Yeah, or move him to another position. You mean like a bench coach?
No, I mentioned remember the situation with Babcock, how he left. He wasn't fired, but he didn't sign a new deal with the Red Wings.
Right.
That's how they parted ways. So I could see that.
Maybe force Brad Ausmus to quit.
I was going to see them doing that as a way to save face, saying, "Oh, we like Brad. We didn't want to fire him, but we feel it's best. We do this and blah blah blah." The thing is the scenario if they don't fire him during the season.
That's kind of the same. That's kind of the same thing. That's the kind of feeling that I want Brad Ausmus to have. Princess Juliet Brat Asmus. I want him to chicken out. I want him to lead the same way Mike Babcock did to the Wings and left for the Leafs back in 2015, 2 years ago.
Yeah, but who would want to take Osmond after this? At least there was multiple students wanting to throw themselves at that conference.
Maybe a minor league team, or maybe another Ivy League team.
No. He's hurt his value with his tenure, in my opinion.
Okay. Maybe Brad Ausmus will just quit managing baseball for the rest of his pitiful life.
Don't get stuff off in the major league and just continue managing the World Baseball Classics. It's not bad.
The World Baseball Classic, yeah. Yeah, just not like Jim Leyland did, or when he managed Team USA. Good thing Brad Ausmus did not manage Team USA in particular. He managed, I think, Venezuela the last time back in.
I can't remember what year it was, but I believe he managed Team Israeli or Team Israel or something like that.
Team Israel, yeah, because Brad Ausmus is actually a Jew,
right.
According to Jeff Moss. Yeah, according to Jeff Moss, the other Jew, the founder, creator, owner, and editor-in-chief of the Detroit Sports Rag, the provocative and more accurate website that the Michigan Sports Truth podcast contributes to the most. And you can follow Jeff Moss on Twitter at JeffMossDSR and like his Facebook page, DetroitSportsRag.com. And join its Facebook group, all in one word, Detroit Sports Rag.
Speaking of his Twitter, he brought up a point which I thought I'm sure a lot of fans are feeling, just don't want to outright admit and say it, but what you consider is an extremely low point in the history of morale for all the Detroit sports region right now, because the Tigers are inconsistent, they are where they are. Mm-hmm. The Ravens are they have become a decaying dynasty. The Pistons, there's an uneasy level of unsureness about them unless they get rid of or try to rework their roster because of who they got right now. And the Lions, yeah, they got Stafford. Yeah, they may have, they got Balquin, they got these pieces, but their ownership is still there, and it's always going to be that cloud of judgment. So you have to wonder, for terms of pro teams at least, this is a very low point.
Yeah, and we're going to get to the Pistons in just two topics. But there was an article written by Jason Beck headlining, "The Tigers look to restock farm at all positions, their entire farm system." Good of them
to recognize this 6 years too late.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. No matter what they do with this summer's trade deadline, they're going to transition toward a younger roster with players developed in their system. The 2017 MLB draft will take place from Monday through Wednesday, beginning with the preview show. That's starting today, rather, on MLB Network and MLB.com. The preview show at 6 p.m. on Monday. MLB Network will broadcast the first 36 picks, while MLB.com will stream all 75 picks on day one. Then MLB.com will cover rounds 3 through 10, rounds on day 2, and then rounds 11 through 40 in a jiffy on day 3. So the Tigers, Jason Beck mentioning the Tigers scouting SEC pitching, Southeastern Conference, for example, Central Florida, the University of Missouri, Tanner Houck, Jonathan Mayo, Jim Callis, all the money matters, this and that, in about 50 words. The shopping list, trend watch. It also mentions that that the Tigers farm system, how awful it's been lately, or in years past, recently.
I was going to say lately. It's a pretty understatement.
Yeah, yeah. That's true. I try to correct it, I promise. So the recent top picks, Matt Manning last year, Beau Burrows in 15, Derek Hill in 2014, Jonathan Crawford, Jake Thompson, James McCann, and Nick Castellanos, all the way back to 2010. So there you go. There's a Cinderella story not to mention. Hard to call right-hander Kyle Funkhauser a Cinderella pick, given his one-time standing among the best college pitchers in the nation at Louisville a couple years ago with the Cardinals, after falling to the LSU Tigers in the 4th round last year. The 23-year-old is pitching more like the first rounder he was in 2015. He earned an early season promotion to Lakeland after racking up strikeouts at low Class A West Michigan. And rising fast, right-hander Beau Burrows, the top pick in 2015, made his Double-A debut for Erie this week after an outstanding first half at Class A Advanced Lakeland. The 20-year-old isn't likely to springboard to Detroit anytime soon, which is a no-brainer, but an improved strikeout rate, low walk ratio, and greater grasp of secondary pitches have him on track to join Michael Fulmer, Daniel Norris, and Matt Boyd, who was recently sent down to AAA Toledo in a couple years in a deep rotation. So that's the whole thing right there, pretty much. So that's Tigers. Want to get to the Griffins? They lead the Syracuse Crunch 3-2. They had to hold on to beat the Crunch 3-2 in Game 4 at Warren Memorial Arena. And then Saturday night, they got leveled 5-1. So Game 6, back at Van Andel Arena, Game 3, they won 4-1. Game 4, they won 3-2, and then the Crunch won 5-1. Game 6 at Van Andel Arena Tuesday, which is tomorrow at 7 on ESPN 961, with Bob Kaiser and Larry Figursky. Also, or you can actually just follow the live updates on the Twitter handle at Griffins Game Day, which is a major contributor to GriffinsHockey.com and the Grand Rapids Griffins themselves. Griffins lead the series at AHL Calder Cup Finals 3-2. They have a chance to clinch it at home at Van Andel Arena on home ice, and they better do it too. Game 7 Wednesday if necessary.
Yeah, if that's them to finish this off now, they risk becoming a part of a number one of the meme club of blowing the 3-1 lead.
Yeah. So, there's that. Now we go to the Pistons.
Left sideline, 3, and he answers.
And speaking of the Pistons, they were, a few days ago, they were starting to gauging the trade market, on center Andre Drummond and Reggie Jackson. So chances. So it looks like they're trying to trade at least one of them, or maybe both of them, away.
But it comes down to, which team wants to take on that contract, which team wants to give up back in return for prospects, picks, or whatever in exchange for Drummond. It's a lot of factors coming down to that. Now, this is probably a crazy situation that you get shot down at any real world type of situation or whatever. But think about this. This is my idea. Let's call this fantasy booking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right bad falling out with Phil. It seems like whatever attempts that Phil tries to smooth things over, it just makes things worse. And I wouldn't be surprised that Porzingis may be of the belief that, hey, I got to get the hell up out of here. I don't want to be wasting the early stages of my career in a cesspool like this where I got, the GMs or I got front office talking crap about star players or doing this and just the whole situation, like ownership and legends getting thrown out of games by security. It's toxic, and I think for a young player of Porzingis' nature or stature, I think it will be wise for him to get up out of there. So, hey, I have resistance. You give us Kristaps Porzingis, we'll give you Drummond in this year's first-round pick. Again, that seems highly unlikely. And I'll probably like any real GM that bring up that proposal will get laughed out of the building. But it's just I personally wouldn't.
I like your thoughts.
Well, thanks, I appreciate it. But I'm not a GM. Probably for that reason alone was why I wouldn't be a GM. But I'm thinking to myself, also it comes down to money and contract. What's the difference between Porzingis' contract and, of course, Drummond's mammoth contract also. So there's financial stuff that gets in the way. Let's just somehow get a third team involved. But, that's a switch or swap I wouldn't mind doing. And I think it would really excite the fans and say, hey, this is a player that we're getting back. He's big, he's strong, he's young. And, by the way, you can keep him on the floor in crunch time because you don't have to worry about free throws regarding him. So, the Celtics thing, it seems to be the popular, rumor of choice out there. So, I think there's a lot of things business could still do leading up to and even on draft night and even some a little bit of time before that, before, training camps or whatever get fully underway.
Uh-huh. Although highly unlikely, not a bad deal. So, that's Pistons. Going to transition from basketball to football now.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
4 Lions updates, actually. Offensive tackle Taylor Decker is now out 4 to 6 months after injuring his shoulder and tearing his labrum during practice 2 weeks ago. He had surgery just the past week on his torn labrum, so he'll miss most of the season, not just the start of the season. It was headlined that he'll miss the start of the season, but this was that update came on June 10th. This is June 12th now, but
now the worst case scenario with him staying for 4 to 6 months, that's a good chunk, if not almost the entire regular season. The entire regular season, since that's stretching into December.
Yeah, he'll probably the latest he'll come back would be like December 9th, actually, just around the time final exams are being passed out and taken and turned in colleges and universities everywhere.
I think because he's young enough, he'll be able to heal up a bit from this one. Still take precaution, of course. So the Lions are definitely going to have to do something to shore up that left side, because this is a big blow to their left side of their offensive line. Their right side is cool, with Wagner and PJ Lang, but they really couldn't afford anything happening to their left side. Now having to Taylor Decker, it's a step back. So they may have to rely upon one of their undrafted free agents, maybe. This is Adams kid from Houston who wants to tackle. Maybe you flip him over to the left to see what he can do to fill in, or you do a rotation or a platoon of some sort until Taylor Decker gets healthy enough to come back, and that's all you got to do. That's my best case scenario.
We'll see. We'll just see when he comes back.
Yeah, the horrible timing for this type of injury. I do know that, by the way, they made some recent moves, to help fill this gap. They've signed Tony Hills, an offensive tackle. He'll be joining the competition platoon. You already got Cornelius Lucas, Joe Dahl, and Corey Robinson. Not exactly sexy names, but you need depth at this point, especially when you're replacing your starting left tackle. So get as much bodies as you can on there, in my opinion.
Right. And then we go to wide receiver Golden Tate, the second or the third, whichever. He wants a new contract. He wants a contract extension after his current deal. He says he's underpaid and hopes to re-sign with the Lions after his current deal. Now this is going to be. There's something in our 5 questions that we may answer.
So I'll just save my thoughts until 5 questions on that one then.
Yeah, it depends on how greedy he is. Hint, hint.
I think he won't be greedy per se. I think he does make a point, though, considering, like I said, I will get to more on that in 5 questions, but I'm thinking that Tate might make a little bit of a point here regarding his contract situation. That's just my view.
Yep. All right, well, there was an article from Carlos Monterez headlining the Lions expect absent linebacker Tahir Whitehead to be a part of their plans. The first sentence would read, "Where in the world is Tahir Whitehead?" The Tahir Whitehead? That's not proper grammar. The Detroit Lions linebacker had another excused absence, at least his second, from practice today during organized team activities, OTAs for short. He lost his job as middle linebacker when the Lions drafted Jared Davis in the first round. He has given no indication he might stage some sort of holdout from voluntary OTAs. He told the Free Press he was okay with the position switch. Defensive coordinator Terrell Austin said Whitehead remains on board with the plan. Austin said, absolutely, quote, absolutely. Tahir's been nothing but a team guy ever since he's been here, unquote. Reporters last saw Whitehead on the second day of OTAs when he did not practice but worked on the side. The team does not discuss injuries, but Austin said he fully expects Whitehead to be on the team and ready for training camp in late July. Austin, quote, said, quote, he's going to be playing linebacker for us, probably be playing the weak side linebacker, and he's fine. He's been here, and he's actually been doing some things in the offseason, but he's fine, and I expect him to be ready to go in camp, unquote. So that's the end of the article.
They're trying to contain this into a situation like move along, doesn't see here, check the report. Did I cross all those T's basically with that? Cross all those check marks with that?
Well, I want to put the cherry on top of that sundae. Just make sure you don't miss out again. Lesson learned.
It wouldn't be a show of proper decorum.
Right. And then the Sporting News ranks Matthew Stafford 13th among NFL quarterbacks. Let me dig up that article here. 13th best NFL quarterback, Matthew Stafford. Checks it.
The other 12 that's ahead of them. I think there's obvious ones that, definitely deserve. But I want to see, as we get close to him, which of those deserve to be higher ranked than him.
Well, there's only 2 listed. Derek Carr, number 10 for the Oakland Raiders, and Dallas Cowboys at 10th. And Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott at 12th.
Good Lord, a rookie after 1 year.
I know.
I know it's the Cowboys, but for God's sakes, can you? No.
Yeah,
Pump
Matthew.
the brakes on that one. Derek Carr, I could see because, in terms of value at least, because once he got hurt, the Raiders are absolutely screwed. So I could see that as your logical reason why he's ranking at Stafford. But no, Dak Prescott, because he's got a better offensive line and he's got a hell of a stud beast running back and Ezekiel Elliott, among other things. And Des Bryant. And Jason Witten. And he plays for the Dallas Cowboys. Somehow that deserves kudos to be ranked higher than the guy that led 8 or 9 comebacks in the fourth quarter this year with no running game and no defense. And Calvin Johnson, and, in my opinion, without competent coaching in Jim Caldwell.
Right.
Yeah, that deserves being ranked below Wonder Boy. Listen, nothing against Dax. He's good. He had an excellent rookie year. I hope for his sake he keeps up. But 1 year, whereas Stafford, this is number 9 coming up for him now, or number 8, excuse me.
And Stafford still has never won a playoff game in his life.
Yeah, but neither did Prescott. Prescott didn't win a playoff game either. Aaron Rodgers makes sure of that.
Yeah, that's a mix-up right there. So, former Michigan quarterback Tom Brady tops the Sporting News rankings, of course. His 5th Super Bowl victory in the New England Patriots. That's a no-brainer.
And the GOAT QB also.
Of course. Yep. All that. Yep. Joe Flacco at 20. Kirk Cousins, 19. Brian Hoyer, 26. Josh McCown, 32. So, you know what that leads us to here. The Michigan State Spartans football sexual assault investigation.
Touchdown, MSU!
Now, let's cut to the chase here. The 3 then unnamed players who were then charged with sexual assault finally had their names revealed. Get ready for these. Donnie Corley, Josh King, and Demetric Vance. And just a day later after their names were revealed, they pled not guilty, and on the same day a report from Kyle Austin of MLive, headline, defensive tackle Austin Robertson reported claims against those 3 players, Corley, King, and Vance. He was actually speaking with, of all people, Bill Simonson of The Huge Show in an interview about the MSU sexual assault investigation. And we don't want to infringe any audio or copyrights here. We'll just read the quotes on what went down between Austin Robertson and that 3-headed pyro, not a 3-headed monster, but the 3-headed pyro.
There's one thing, you got to give him credit for, D'Antonio, I think I think probably he didn't do it sooner because for some reason, I don't know why, but at least he finally did it, because when this was going to get out eventually who these players were. It couldn't be kept under wraps forever and ever. So eventually, you think, right, there's got to be some type of consequence, or people are going to want to expect repercussions for this type of nature, egregious nature of conduct. So they did what they had to do. They kicked the players off the team, and so they'll have to answer for themselves on their day of court. Now, as for what this means for the football team and the program and D'Antonio, and you can, throw Mark Hollis, the AD, in there as well also. It is a major blow. It is, I guess you can say, the biggest Big Ten sexual scandal since Penn State. Granted, Penn State was on a far bigger and much more disgusting level than this, but that's the only comparison you could find. Now, if you want to do slightly more accurate comparison, maybe Baylor, maybe.
Right.
But yeah, it speaks not just to a problem in the Big Ten, where it speaks to a problem all across college campuses of the amount of women getting sexually assaulted and nothing being done about it. It's horrible. It's deplorable, if you want me to use that term, ironically or not. So I'm done to protect these students, protect these women, protect people, period, from having this being conducted and having it being committed and transpired against them at all costs.
Yeah.
So,
it's been a serious issue the last few years.
Yeah, you would have thought lessons were being taken at the Penn State or being taken at the Baylor. Now we're having this shit happen again. When is enough going to be enough here?
Yeah, I don't want to read the...
Right, what consequences have to come as a result? Who has to be fired? Who has to lose their job?
It's certainly Mark. It's certainly not Mark D'Antonio.
step up here.
It's certainly not Mark D'Antonio and the coaching staff, because Mark D'Antonio especially handled those allegations well by following the school's assault policy. I want to throw that in there.
I'm not throwing him under the bus, but he is the head coach. You know, he puts his name out on there. So
he took accountability.
Yeah, he's got to, right, and well-deserved.
Despite a 3-9 record. This is more important than their 3-9 record last year. And I want to pull up a quote here from Mitch Lyons. He said to Bill Simonson, quote, "When Austin Robertson came into his office for a regularly weekly meeting, Coach D'Antonio asked him the regular questions he typically asks him, and then he became a little emotional and didn't even go into details. He alluded to the fact that something happened, and Coach D had a sense that it involved some sort of sexual allegation, and he immediately said, 'Don't say anything more,'" unquote. And then in a message to MLive a few paragraphs later, Lyons later said that he, quote, "completely misspoke," unquote, and, quote, multiple cases going on and get confusing at times," unquote.
It's just a bad situation all around, man. There's nothing really good that can come out of this other than hoping to God it doesn't happen again. Period.
Right.
You rectify this, you purge yourself of whatever necessary evil or whatever that might have been the cause or the culprit of this, and you find help and try to fixing work inside your own house here to ensure that this doesn't happen again.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's Michigan State football. But before we get to 5 questions, I missed something here. I read an article from MotorCityBengals.com from Kristen Bentley on Fansided. Headline: Detroit Tigers, John Hicks should be a regular on the roster. And she's got a point. Although John Hicks was sent down back down to Toledo inevitably due to the return of Tigers catcher James McCann. Now, I give props to McCann defensively, but offensively, well, not so much, although he's hit 7 home runs. And Kristen Bentley pulls up all the accurate stats which show evidence that John Hicks has had better numbers than James McCann has offensively. And John Hicks can be a catcher, too, you know.
And then when you factor in the outstanding job that Alex Steele has done this season, causing the question of, and Moss has been practically screaming for this now for weeks on end. There needs to be some sort of platoon at the catcher spot.
Definitely. If you get Hicks and Avila instead of McCann and Avila, then you're set. So that's out of the way. Now it's time for the 5 questions segment. Ed, are you ready?
Ready as you are, Tails. Go ahead and let him rip.
It's time for 5 questions on the Michigan Sports Truth.
Question number 1. Does the fact that the Tigers are looking to restock their farm system at all positions mean that they're preparing to sell?
It's always good to keep the options on the table. I think was it either Carey or Keith Law that mentioned the whole, or maybe Morosi, I can't remember which one, but I remember Moss citing him on Twitter saying, if things don't shape up, then, you have a 5-week mandate to turn things around. Otherwise, bosses, you'll likely be gone and then fully go into full-blown fire sale mode. So I think this is a measure of keeping all your cards on the table, all your options at hand. You never know what could happen. You could see, Miguel Cabrera wake up from the dead. You could see J.D. Martinez reclaim some fire. You could see Verlander and Zimmerman put on respectable performances with the rotation. I can't really put too much in the bullpen or closing or Osmonds, but that they're out of the league. They can handle what only they can handle. And to me, what they can handle best is their star pitchers on their rotation, giving out solid quality starts, and some of their key bats, Miggy, JD, V-Mart, J-Up, Kinsler, and in my opinion, Iglesias with his speed, do better in that regard of getting on base, scoring runs, do whatever you can to help his team win as many games as possible. So if that type of measure of pace doesn't improve, then yeah, again, keep all your options on the table and then do what you got to do.
Next question.
You know, the farm system being as track it is, you know, you got to replenish it sooner or later.
Yeah. Question number 2. What are the odds the Pistons trade Andre Drummond and or Reggie Jackson this offseason? Meaning that they can be separated.
I don't know. Someone tells me if it came down to it, I would see them keeping Reggie and trading Andre, even though, you know, it'll be probably more difficult for any team to take Andre's contract. That's what I'm saying more than anything. I'm sure a lot of teams would love to have this talent potential on there. And, you know, some may be a little bit off-put by his mental work on the floor. But it's that contract, man, all that money. I don't know if there's many teams in the league that would want to take that on and who need a center at the same time.
Yeah, but if they trade Drummond, that leaves Aaron Baines and Boban Marjanovic on the table if Baines decides to not opt out of his contract, of his option.
Yeah, that option would help a lot, too, and bring up some money for us. You know, I would, like I said, my dream scenario, or one of my fantasy bookie scenario, trade from to New York or whatever, get yourself a center, and you get yourself automatically a center for Porzingis, or you could, I don't know how you do it, but find some way to unload Drummond's contract, free up all that money, you get yourself a good player in return, ideally in this situation would be Porzingis, and then try to see if you can do something with all that free money, make a splash in the offseason.
Well, don't forget Aaron Baines. We have to hope that Aaron Baines declines his option. That leaves more room for another center to join Boban Marjanovic.
Someone tells me he likes it here, so more like he'll come back, unfortunately.
Yeah, which leaves less room for another center. But because if they were to bring a third center, a free agent center, that would still, still leave Boban Marjanovic as a reserve center, which is not good because Stan Van Gundy has already seen how incredible Boban Marjanovic is offensively. Defensively, still, like we discussed, he can be slow at times, but sometimes he can make a block.
Yeah, but, you know, there's a lot of intangibles of Boban that I like where, to me, he's got to have more minutes. He's got to have more time on that floor.
That's on Stan Van Gundy.
Yeah, and that's on Stan. So he's got to work on that throughout this upcoming season for sure.
Yep.
Next question.
Question number 3. How badly does Taylor Decker's long absence affect the Lions from a scale of 1 to 10?
I give it a 7. 8, in my opinion, would be too high because, like I said, you still have the right side of your line to look forward to help you out with your running game and pass protection. But 7 because Decker is your left tackle. He's protecting Stafford's blind side. You know, I thought he did a good enough job last year with him being a rookie and all. That gives him a chance to do even better this season. So him being hurt this long, it would stunt his development and growth at least a little bit. And obviously going to make the qualities of the left side suffer a little bit more as a result. So based on that, my own personal conjecture thing, I would rank it as a 7. You know, it's not too high, but it's very noticeable.
Next question.
Question 4. What kind of extension price is Golden Tate asking for from the Lions?
Well, when you go back into looking, I don't think I have the numbers on me, but I think Julian Edelman of the Patriots just re-upped for an extension.
Spot Track has the current numbers here. If you want to look at the Lions' entire payroll and separate contract salaries for each team, each player on the Lions roster.
Yeah, but I think we're doing the comparison to Julian Edelman because that's what, at least ESPN wants to insinuate. You know that after looking at the Julian Edelman extension, I'm sure Golden Tate, who in my opinion is a very vital and valuable offensive threat to the Lions, without question. Maybe top 15, arguably top 10 offensive threat in the whole league. Yeah, I think in my opinion that it does warrant a good extension, but, here's the thing. Remember, you're going to be paying all this money to Stafford still, so you got to be real careful trying not to pay too much to just two guys when you got all these other spots and holes to fill up. Now, you will hope that some of your draft picks that you made on defense, they pan out extremely well. So, right, it's a low risk, high reward type of thing. But remember, you've already given a lot of money just to the right side of your offensive line alone. You're already going to give Stafford buku cash, especially after this Derek Carr deal that he got. So you want to be giving yourself too much to where, we got our some of our big pieces. Where's that leave us for the rest of the team, especially on the defense? So you really got to tread that line and balance that tight wire as carefully as possible.
Next question.
I have to agree. Finally, question 5. This may be a no-brainer. What will the future verdict be for MSU players Donnie Corley, Josh King, and Demetric Vance? I'd say guilty.
I'd wait to see how all the evidence plays out first, but it's not looking good right now, to say the least.
So, yeah, I take it you agree with me firsthand.
Yeah, I will be inclined to agree with you, but remember, the whole the tried and true line is them to become guilty in a court of law. So they deserve their day in court. Let's hear all the evidence and facts, and then we'll come to that conclusion and decision.
Yep, so that's our 5-question segment. For all the listeners and fans out there, if you want to answer those questions, just replay the episode and answer them in the comment bank below this episode. That's episode 268 of the Michigan Sports Truth Weekend Review edition on Spreaker. Before we sign off, I want to remind everyone to share this episode and our entire podcast on social media and have their friends share that as well, because I want to tell them that the Michigan Sports Truth podcast is in search of local advertising sponsors. If anyone has a business that's interested in sponsoring this program, you can follow Sports Radio Detroit on Twitter at Sports Radio Det at Sports Radio DET and send them a direct message or email them at Sports Radio Detroit in the contact section, or email its owner, Roger Castillo, at rogcast81@gmail.com. Also, like their Facebook page and join their Facebook group. And finally, find their podcast available on iTunes and Podbean. Ed, great job as always each week. Talk to you next week on episode 269.
Absolutely, Taylor. You take care of yourself. Try to stay cool in all this heat. And one last parting salvo for me. Go LeBron.
All right. I'm praying for you, Ed.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Take care.
All right, you too.
Yep. I'm Taylor Phillips. Follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips. Follow Ed Smith 313. Like the Facebook page, The Michigan Sports Truth, and join its Facebook group. We'll talk to you next week on episode 269. Thanks very much for listening and downloading. TTFN, ta-ta for now.
Bon appetit.